What's up, everybody? We got a great matchup for Sunday Night Football with Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs taking on Lamar Jackson and the Ravens in Baltimore. Should be one of the best games of the entire NFL season. As some of you guys know, we talk about a lot of games in our weekly betting videos that you can find above that you definitely consider watching, but we don't get to analyze each game as much as we like. So I wanted to break down further some of these primetime games that are happening on Thursday night, Sunday night, and Monday night, because I know that's where a lot of betting interest is. I know that's where a lot of viewership is. So definitely check out our other betting videos. But with that, we'll talk about our Sunday night preview. I'm going to go through what I saw last week from the Ravens and the Chiefs in their respective games and how I think they'll fare against each other this week, along with some other bets that I'm leaning towards that I might not be putting on the professional picks card, but I will be betting myself personally. So with that, let's take a look. You can see here the line opened that the Chiefs minus 2.5 being a 2.5 point favorite and the over under being 53.5. You can see that since then, the over is moved up to 55.5 and the Chiefs are now 3.5 point favorites, which makes sense to me because when the Chiefs are winning football games, it's almost always by 3 points, if not a lot more. Now you have to go back in the last two seasons. I think the Chiefs in games that they've won by less than 3 points only one time. So when they do win, it's by at least three, and most of the time a lot more than that. So if you watch our other video, you know that we already love the Chiefs. We bet them at minus 2.5, but I still think 3.5 is a good line. And with the bettors pushing the over up to 55.5, you saw that the Ravens secondary was not what people expected, especially with Marcus Peters out at cornerback, really susceptible to a passing attack. So people expect a lot of points from both these teams in this game to be a pretty high scoring affair, with the Chiefs obviously getting the edge. So I want to take a look at the Chiefs box score from week one against their game against the Browns, who I think, as you guys already may know, are one of the best teams in football and certainly a top team in the AFC. If you look at this, on the left side, these stats for passing and rushing, Patrick Mahomes did Patrick Mahomes things. He threw the ball a lot. He threw for over 300 yards, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions, a great passer rating at 131. That's on a scale of 158. He looks great, especially in the second half, as he always does. He just kind of picks it up and figures out that defense. So nothing new for Patrick Mahomes and nothing new in this rushing game either. The Chiefs are a team that really don't run the ball that much, and they rely on Patrick Mahomes to do a lot of things. They're lucky he's one of the best quarterbacks to ever walk this earth because he really carries his team on his shoulders. They are really one-dimensional, and they're one of the few teams that can get away with it because of the ability of Patrick Mahomes. But Clyde Edwards-Helaire, 14 carries, that's not a ton, averaging 3.1 yards per carry either. That's not really that great of a number. So this isn't a team that runs the ball too often, and even when they do, they're not super effective. What really matters more is if you look at the receiving yards on the right, you see Tyreek Hill, 11 receptions, 197 yards, and a touchdown. It seems like any given game, it's either Tyreek Hill or Travis Kelce, Mahomes' other favorite target, that just go off. I don't know how, if you're a defensive coordinator, how you scheme against these guys because you can't double team both Hill and Kelce. And when either one of those guys are getting one-on-one coverage, which Hill did a lot against the Browns, they're going to get open. He's just too fast and too quick, and they're going to torch you. So between Hill and Kelce, these guys have a crazy passing attack with Mahomes, feeding them the ball and giving them a healthy dose of receptions all game long. What really mattered a lot this game, something I want to bring your attention to, is the third down efficiency for the Chiefs offense and defense. I want to take a look first at the Browns' third down efficiency. They were only 2 for 7 on third down, meaning the Chiefs held them to a third down conversion rate of under 30%, which is great. Obviously, it's a one-game sample, but this Browns offense is really good and a lot of talent on offense. And so the Chiefs defense is really bend, don't break. They're going to let you run the ball on first down against them, let you gain 5 yards. But when you start having to pass the ball downfield, that plays into their defensive specialty. They're going to be getting Tyrann Mathieu back this week too, who was out due to COVID the last few weeks. That's another added piece to their secondary unit. But the Chiefs want you to be throwing the ball against them. And when you get in down and distance situations against this Chiefs defense, they really tighten up. They throw exotic schemes at you. They confuse the quarterback, and they cause you to, fail on third down and punt the ball right back to them, which plays into their hand, especially when they get up early. This game, the Chiefs were down at halftime, but when the Chiefs get up early and they force the offense to throw the ball early to try to catch up on points, that's when they really shine, and that's when they really start to dominate. And that's something that I think might happen in this game against the Ravens, but we'll get to that later. Also, the Chiefs on third down, 9 for 13. That's over 70%, which is incredible. when this team needs to pick up first downs, Andy Reid calls great plays. And then Patrick Mahomes is such a smart quarterback at the line of scrimmage. When he sees something that he likes or something that he doesn't like, he's really quick to audible and change the play to exploit that defensive front that he's seeing. He's almost always going to Travis Kelce or Tyreek Hill, who always seem to be open on third down somehow. And with Patrick Mahomes' ability to extend the play and make crazy accurate throws, no matter what his body position is or where he is in the field, this team is just loves to pick up third downs. And that's a team you want to bet on. The team that can pick up third downs, create long drives and extend the drives, but also on defense, stifle the opponent's offense and make them punt the ball away to your all-pro quarterback. So that's what the Chiefs did in the second half against the Browns. And that's something I think they're going to be doing all day against the Ravens. For the Ravens, if you watch the game on Monday night, you know that if Lamar Jackson fixes his turnover problem, they probably win this game. Unfortunately, Lamar Jackson's put in a situation where he has to be everything for this offense. He's got to be their best rusher and their best passer, and he's got to be accurate and not make mistakes, which is a lot to ask for a guy. If anyone could do it, it is Lamar Jackson, but it's just so tough. Him having his two starting running backs tear their ACL weeks before the season starts, and then two of their top three receivers, and Rashad Bateman and Miles Boykin, are out too. So even in the passing game, they're weak. This guy really is going to have to put the team on his back. But when you ask a guy to carry the load like that, it's a lot more stringent, and then you're much more turnover prone because you're trying to make these bigger plays and help your team win. So Lamar Jackson wasn't all that bad throwing the ball, but that's not his forte. He's not a very accurate passer, not a great deep ball thrower, throwing the ball to the outside hashes of the field. And when you force him to throw the ball and try to catch up on points, they kind of struggle. What they much rather do is control the clock with a run game and, methodically push the ball upfield and take their big plays when they get it. But they were able to do that with J.K. Dobbins out and then Gus Edwards out, again, tearing their ACLs. So they're relying on these young, inexperienced running backs like Tyson Williams or veteran running backs like Latavius Murray that don't really know the system all that well. So even in the rushing game, they're leaning on Lamar Jackson a lot. And if you look in the top right, you look at what the Raiders did against this Baltimore defense. Derek Carr threw for over 400 yards. And if you take out overtime, he's still throwing for well over 350, 375 yards. So what usually was a strength for this Ravens defense, their passing game, has become a pretty big weakness, especially with the absence of Marcus Peters, who also has a season-ending injury. So this Ravens team has just been plagued by injuries, and it's tough for them to really get all this new personnel to fit into their system so quickly when the season is starting. So they're letting a lot up in the pass game. Patrick Mahomes, I expect to do the same thing, who's a much more capable passer than Derek Carr, who's very good in his own right, but Patrick Mahomes is all universe. The rushing yards, Josh Jacobs only had 10 carries, 34 yards, averaging 3.4 yards a carry. That's really good for the Ravens defense, who's always been good at stopping the run, and that's still one of their strengths on their defense. They're fast, they're big, they control the line of scrimmage. They're not going to let you run the ball that often. Unfortunately, that doesn't really matter with the Chiefs because they're content with passing the ball on first down, second down, third down all game long. They really don't need to run the ball to win. That's not part of their scheme, not part of their game plan. So even though that's one of the Ravens defensive strengths, I don't think it really matters that much this game because it doesn't really go up against what the Chiefs are trying to do anyways. You look at the Raiders receiving yards. Darren Waller was their leading receiver with 10 receptions with 105 yards, which is really significant because Darren Waller is a tight end. So the defense for the Ravens has shown, especially in the second half, they had no answer for Darren Waller, who's a big athletic tight end, much like Travis Kelce. They couldn't really put a stop to him. So I expect Travis Kelce to do the similar things that Darren Waller did and maybe even exceed those reception and yards numbers because while Marlon Humphreys, who's a stud cornerback that's going to guard Tyreek Hill, he'll shut him down to the extent that anyone can. But these Ravens linebackers and safeties will not have an answer for Travis Kelce in the passing game, as they just showed last week on Monday night with Darren Waller. The last thing that's really important, we've talked about it for the Chiefs, I'm going to talk about it for the Ravens, third down efficiency, because it's going to matter. And it's the third down efficiency that wins and loses ball games. The Ravens were 3 for 12, 25% on third down. That's simply unacceptable. You're not going to win a lot of ball games with that kind of conversion rate. And a big reason is what I mentioned. When teams get down, when Lamar Jackson and the Ravens get down the passing down and distance marks, Lamar Jackson is not reliable to throw the ball 8, 10 yards down the field consistently to pick up that first down. If I'm the Chiefs, that's what I'm going to want to be doing all game. I'm going to try to get sacks, try to let them get a few yards in the run game, but force third down in passing situations, because that's exactly where you want Lamar to be, because throwing the ball downfield is not his strength. So he's a dual threat quarterback, one of the best in the game, but throwing the ball with accuracy is not what he does. That's not where he makes a big paycheck. So they're not picking up the third downs. And on the other side of the coin, they're letting up third down efficiency at almost a 50% rate, which is incredible. If you could pick up third downs at a 50% rate, you'd be one of the best teams in the league to do it. So that goes back to their secondary being ineffective, especially with holes with Marcus Peters out. Marlon Humphrey can't do everything for the secondary. So once he takes away your first option, his offense are looking to their second guys, and they're picking up third downs at a pretty healthy rate. So I think this matchup for the Ravens and the Chiefs really favors the Chiefs, because the Chiefs have a really strong passing attack and the Ravens don't have a really good passing defense. The Chiefs don't really run the ball that much. It doesn't really matter that the Ravens have that good of a run game. So if you look at the bets that I'm talking about and thinking about, I really like the the Chiefs at -3.5 for all these points I just said. If I'm Andy Reid, I'm game planning. I'm throwing the ball all day. I'm pushing the ball downfield. I'm exploiting these holes in the Ravens secondary, putting points up early, getting Lamar Jackson and his Ravens offense on their heels, where they're forced to pass the ball early, get out of the comfort zone, abandon the run game, and try to force Lamar to make deeper throws than he wants to do and that he's used to. I think if they do that, the Chiefs win this game easily. Last year, in NFL Week 3, the Chiefs also visited Baltimore. They beat them by 14. 2 years ago, Baltimore came into Kansas City. Chiefs won by 5. So Patrick Mahomes has shown that he knows how to beat the Ravens. Andy Reid has shown that he can stop Lamar Jackson to the extent where they're going to win the ball game by more than 3.5 points, especially with how decimated this Ravens team is with injuries, especially on offense. I don't see them keeping up with the pace with the Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes. And until Lamar Jackson proves that he can stop forcing turnovers, either with interceptions or fumbles, which is hard for him because he runs the ball so much and he's very loose with the ball, I'm going to keep picking the other team, especially the Chiefs team with a much superior offense. So Lamar Jackson's got to prove that, he can win the turnover battle before I really want to be betting the Ravens too much. Another bet that I really like, and this is one I might be adding to our personal card, is Patrick Mahomes passing yards combined with Lamar Jackson rushing yards over 365.5. I can't believe this line's even being offered. This is a special on DK only, I believe. But I could see Patrick Mahomes getting 365 passing yards himself. As I just said earlier, Derek Carr had 435 the last game. This Ravens secondary really isn't all that strong anymore. It's uncharacteristic of them, but they're letting up a lot of yards. And if I'm correct, I think the Chiefs' game plan is going to be pass the ball all day and exploit those weaknesses. And then on Lamar Jackson, too, he had 80-something rushing yards last game. I can see him getting even more than that against the Chiefs, because a lot of the times his rushing yards are coming in passing scenarios. So he's going to drop back on down and distance, and he's going to scramble and create big plays in his legs like he always does. So if Patrick Mahomes can get 300 yards, which is basically as close to a given in the NFL these days, and Lamar Jackson get another 60 yards on the ground, which he's been doing consistently, I really like this bet to hit. And I think just in the game plan and the game scenario of this, it fits perfectly into this bet. Going along with that, I like the Lamar Jackson over on his completions. Like I said, if I'm right, and I think the Chiefs game plan this game the way I think, the Ravens are going to get down early, be forced to pass the ball a lot. That'll force Lamar Jackson to throw the ball a lot and run the ball a lot. But he had 19 completions last game. They were in control for most of the game, especially the first half, where they ran the ball over 30 times. So I think this game they're going to be forced to run the ball less, forced to pass more. He just gets one more completion than he did the last game, then this over hits. I really like this bet just because I think Lamar is going to be dropping back to pass frequently this game. I like the Clyde Edwards-Helaire under rushing yards this game. Again, Ravens front seven in the box, very stout, very apt at stopping the run, which also the Chiefs really content on not running the ball at all if they don't have to. They're going to take what they can get. Clyde Edwards-Helaire is already an undersized back, and this Ravens defensive front seven is huge in terms of size and physicality, controlling the line of scrimmage in the run game. I don't expect the Ravens to try to run the ball that much. And even when they do, I don't expect them to have all that much success with Clyde Edwards-Helaire. I do think the Chiefs are going to be passing a lot this game as well, playing to their strengths and the Ravens' defensive weakness. And so I really like Travis Kelce's over on receiving yards. I mentioned that Darren Waller, another all-pro tight end, put up 105 receiving yards against this Ravens defense last week. Kelce is the best tight end in the game. Mahomes possibly favorite target, sure-handed tight end receiver. So I expect him to have a big game this week, especially given the fact that these Ravens linebackers and safeties could not have an answer for Darren Waller. They're not going to have an answer for Travis Kelce either. You can probably bet the over on Tyreek Hill as well, but I think this is Kelce's game to shine, not Hill's, given that Marlon Humphreys is one of the best cornerbacks in the game. So I'm leaning more towards Travis Kelce this game. So I hope you guys like this video. If you enjoyed, please hit the like button. Please subscribe. Let me know in the comment sections what you think of my bets, my game plan, everything I'm thinking about this game. Talk some trash. I'm fine with that. I love interacting with you guys in the comment section. Let me know if there's anything else you want to see from these videos. If you're enjoying these weekly previews, if you want to see different types of bets or different types of analysis, I'm always open to hear your guys' opinions. If you like that betting session I just talked about, be sure to visit our other video where we talk about our favorite weekly bets for each NFL week. And then be sure to bet our lock of the week, which this week is the Chiefs. Because I really think they're going to take care of business in Baltimore. Patrick Mahomes never lost in September, never thrown an interception either. I think he's going to continue that streak. We'll see what happens Sunday night.